I'm going to just share my really unpublished, less polished thoughts around money, business finances, being a micro business, staying intentionally small, etc. So where most of my unpolished thoughts live on these topics is in my content ideas database. So I have a ton of ideas in there, and not all of them make it outside of that database. So what I'm going to do is use this as the first step to get out of there. And then if it's something I want to share further, then I can polish it up from there. But hopefully at least this will make it out and at least help someone besides just me. So for today's topic, I'm just literally going to look at my database and go down from newest to oldest, and we'll see how far I make it down. So for today's topic, it's about how I approach losing a client. So I'm looking for new work out of positivity, not panic. That's the title I have for this idea in the database. And I wrote this here because I feel like, for two reasons, I've talked to several people who, when I told them about, I'm going backwards. So reason one, I have lost some clients recently. They're transitioning on because their workload is past what I could support them to, / they have a new tax person who also bundles the bookkeeping all together. So they're transitioning on. And so it's been a few clients all at the same time. Normally it's just one at a time. But since it's a few at the same time, it's a recent topic for me that I'm dealing with. And then when I haven't just mentioned clients transitioning on, other people has a question, basically a question or reaction of, how do you deal with that? Or what do you do? And I guess because I don't look like I'm freaking out, panicking, people just are like, are you dealing with that? And so that's why I just dumped this idea into my database, because it's, how do I approach losing it so I'm not freaking out or panicking? And I wrote some notes, but first I'm just going to talk it through, and then I'll look back at the notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. So how I approach it. So first of all, why I want to approach it this way is because trying to find anything out of desperation just does not work very well. You might get results, but will they be the kind of results you like, and especially long term? Maybe not. And so I'm trying to optimize for long term. So if I get it, is it something I want to keep? And that includes work or clients. So I don't want to get clients out of desperation or take on work out of desperation. And then also because past experience, I have taken work that maybe I wasn't super enthused about, but just for the money, and then regretted it just because it turned out to be more work or more of a headache or stress than the money. And then if I just waited a little bit longer, this other opportunity opened up too. And so sometimes I think I'm trying to think of a specific example, and I can't. I think it was because it was early on in my work. But I think what I would do is just try to take on the new opportunity so that I would have double the work and stress, versus if I just waited, I would have just had the one good opportunity and less stress. So trying to remember that if I can just wait a little bit. Now, how long can I wait? So that's another thing I have to know. How long can I wait so that I'm waiting and not stressing out or panicking? So there's a term, runway, that's used in the startup world or corporate world, where they're starting a business and they want to know how much runway they have, or burn rate of cash burn rate. And all that really simple definition is, how long will the cash we have last if we don't bring in any more money? And I guess that's what I say, a runway. How long will this money run until we use it all up if no other money comes in? And so I do have an idea of that for my own personal finances and business finances, because I keep them separate, because it makes it really clear to see who's in more trouble, personal or business? Or not trouble, but just who has a shorter runway. And obviously, if my personal has a runway and my business has a runway, then technically that's like my personal has almost not double runway, but it has an extra long runway because the money from the business goes into my personal finances. But if like personal is fine and I notice the business cash is looking pretty short, like it needs some extra help, then I can decide what to do versus if the business looks fine, but personal finances, so it's looking like it needs a little extra help, a little extra cash, then I can decide, do I want to take from my business a little bit more than I usually do, or some other way to cover that gap. So that's the other thing, knowing how long I can wait, because knowing that, oh, I'll be fine for the next 3 months versus, oh, within the next month, I need to get some extra cash in. That's a different vibe. It's a different feeling. And so knowing I can wait helps me not panic too. So, yeah, I wanted to summarize what I just said, but it's not polished. So we're just going to keep going. The other reason it's important for me to know how much it's important for me not to panic and stress out and try to get work out of desperation is because for like bookkeeping, business finances specifically, people typically take some time before they work with me. It's a longer sales cycle, like 3 to 6 months minimum, maybe longer. And what I'm realizing is that the people who work with me right away versus the people who do take time to work with me, I prefer the second group. So people who take a little bit more time to work with me, those have been really great clients to work with. So again, I'm like, I don't want to choose out of desperation. So I'm like, if I want the kind of work that's better long term, better for me, it's less stress. And then if it's less stress and just a better experience overall, then that translates into less cost, less expenses. So I keep more of the money. I feel better keeping that money. And I'm like, I want that, but that means I have to be comfortable waiting a little bit longer than just like getting money right away, which is anybody. And so that's the other thing. I want to design for that. So just designing for the fact that this is true. And what can I do to not be desperate, to be able to wait for people to be ready to work with me? But so that's another reason. And I also don't want to be the kind of business where you pressure people to work with you either, just because I need money right now. That's not their responsibility. It's my business, my responsibility to get what I need. Obviously, yes, you can ask for support and help and share, but ultimately, it's not their responsibility to make sure your business keeps going. So don't pressure other people to work with you. And yeah, so I think that's maybe a good spot to end it. Hopefully that was clear. I feel like I went in circles. And then the other question is, do I still panic? Yeah, sometimes. Do I still feel stressed? Yeah, sometimes. I would say yes, of course, just less than I used to. I would say the stress and panic was way worse before like year. I would even say maybe like last year too. Like each year it gets it's less and less because I think I just get it's not my first time in more experience. I try to remember how things go last time I go through a transition. So I like the fact that I keep a journal. So I try to write things down. I also like that I have my financial reports, like my profit and loss, just to see what happened month to month, year to year, and my numbers. So I can see that, yes, I have lost revenue before. Yes, I'm making more now than I was before. And the last time I had this, I was making less and I got through it. So I'll probably be fine this time. Just seeing that evidence is really helpful. So that's why I like having bookkeeping records. That can be part of the evidence. So that's really important and helpful. So it's not my first time. I have had evidence. Also, just having a strategy for managing again, all these moving parts because the future is uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. So even though you've been through it before, you still want to have a way to be able to adjust as needed, specifically for money. And because like financially, like it's me and my husband, but like my business is, especially for for a couple of years, it was the main income, like the only income. So it was really important to make sure that money was coming in through it. And then when it's not the only one, that does help because then I can, if there's another income stream, then I'll plug that into my little plan of like, okay, personal finances, what's coming in versus out, and then how does that affect the business for what's coming in and out? Can I like take out less from the business? Can I wait? Or if I can't, maybe can I just save more on the personal side? So it's like this balancing act of these two different money systems. Yeah. Which is why, like I said, that's why I like having this more of a system so I can adjust over time instead of it being like, this is the plan, like how much has to come in, how much has to go out. I prefer more of a flexible way of managing it because that way I don't feel like locked in or stuck. And then if I feel locked in or stuck, it's a lot harder to stick to the plan because it feels like I'm trapped. So having that flexibility reduces the feeling of being trapped, which means I'm more likely to stick to it, which means I'm more likely to go to my reach my goals. And then one of the ways I feel like more financially free or financially in a good place is that I don't have to worry as much about what I'm spending or what I'm getting. I would really like to reach that spot. Oh, and the other obviously really big part of this side. So I've been talking more about the okay, how to manage money with the loss of a client, loss of revenue, and waiting for people. But it's also like how do you make sure you have new people coming in that first place to work with? So that one is really all about like sales and marketing and brand, which is not my specialization. I've been reading a lot about it and learning about it, obviously. So I can only speak to what I'm still figuring out. But what I'm doing is, again, having like evidence, like where do people even come from and find me. And then when I see, oh, this is how people find me or end up working with me, then I just try to make sure that happens more often. Like put focus my energy into that. And so for me, it's really just like talking to people, them getting to know me, I get to know them. And also they are someone I can help though in the like marketing sales space, I guess, like your ICP, your ideal client, your audience, whatever you want to call it, like the person I can help who's ready for me to help them, then I just try to make sure I either talk to them directly or talk to someone who knows them or be in the spaces those people are. And like I said, for me, it's just me interacting with people, talking to them, coffee chats, communities. And then and then trying to be, if not directly connected with them, then connected with someone who's connected to them. And that can be also be in like communities through coffee chats, sometimes through like content like social media or podcasts. I would say, according to my data, like I haven't really gotten a lot of people who I've worked with through the avenue. So it's for me that would be like a longer term game, like a long play to see is this worth it or not. So I don't focus a lot of energy on that on like content creation, social media, podcast guesting right now. Although I have done some, like, and so like I said, I focus on where people do come to find out about me and work and then want to work with me. I also keep data, like I track that. So I have a database where I track like how many people have I talked to, coffee chats, how many intro calls have I done, like sales calls. And for the coffee chats, my tracking isn't like super, super perfect because sometimes especially if I've already talked with someone, then I might not always keep track of it, although I'm trying to be better about it. Because when I get busy, sometimes it's easy to forget and then not realize I haven't really connected with anyone for a month or two. For sales calls, I do track because there's less of those, so they're just easier to keep track of and look at on my calendar. So that's how I like fill my pipeline, that term. And again, it's all about data, like having the data, the numbers that show me where people are coming from, who end up working with me. Am I doing more of those things? How many of those things am I doing? What's enough of those to be doing? How many should I be doing? A lot of this is I've just been figuring out and I'm still figuring out. So that's what I want to say. It's very individual. For some people, for them, it's posting every day on LinkedIn for them would bring a client. And then that's what you would probably be measuring and doing. Did I post every day on LinkedIn this week? And then what happened when I posted every day on LinkedIn for every month? Did I get new people? How many people? If I post more, did I get more people or less people? So it's just a lot of a lot of my approaches. I do a thing and then see how people react to it, or it's like throwing stuff out there in the world and seeing the feedback and then adjusting based on that. And then do I want to keep doing that or do I not want to keep doing that? And not also just considering like how do I feel doing this too? If I feel terrible, I maybe don't want to keep doing that and I need to find a better way to find clients or work that doesn't make me feel crappy. So that's that other side of like, how do I even make sure I have new people so I am not panicking? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think that's good. Again, this is unpolished thoughts. And you'll notice I talked about more than just money because money is never just money. It's just a part of a whole for business, like your whole business system, your finances, your money system. That's why I use the term systems because everything is connected to each piece of the business, and money specifically is connected to something else. So if one thing changes, uh, the whole system is affected. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful. Hopefully you enjoy listening to this. If you have any questions or thoughts or something you wanted me to clarify or just expand on more, let me know. And I believe I can put this in the show notes, like a way to give that feedback, whether it's through email or I might set up a form too. That might be like the simplest solution for this to keep it organized. But I'll put that in there and then you can use that. Yeah. Thank you. Until next time.